Thank you. We changed that on, we changed that on this other deal, didn't we? On this one? Did your recommendation? No? Okay. All right, I have 5 o'clock. We'll call this month's meeting of the Board of Adjustment to order. First item of business is approval of the minutes.
Make a motion we accept as presented.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Item number 1 has been tabled due to notice requirements. Item number 2 is a variance to allow a combined accessory building.
We got a motion.
You got to go ahead and motion it. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to table the item number 1.
I'll make a motion to table item number 1.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen, for keeping me on track. The second item is a variance for 108 Riverstone on a square footage accessory building.
Yes, sir. So this is a variance for a construction of an accessory structure greater than the maximum allowed at 108 Riverstone Street. The existing conditions are, it is located at 108 Riverstone Street within the Riverstone subdivision. The property is zoned R1 and is surrounded by other R1 zone properties. It is surrounded by other single-family homes as well as vacant lots. Oh, gosh, sorry. There we go. Okay, there we go. And the review comments, the project is to construct an accessory structure that is 1,615 square feet and is 50% greater than the primary home on Riverstone current square footage instead of the maximum allowed of 1,600 square feet. Staff has found that the special condition exists by the size of the applicant's property. The typical R1 lot is less than 2 acres, however, the applicant's lot is 8.3 acres. The applicant has shown that there will be little to no visual impact due to the home being set back far from the road, the terrain of the lot, and the property being obstructed from neighboring homes by wooded areas. The proposed use is in conformance with the table of permitted uses, and the granting of this variance is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code. Staff recommends approval of this application as a result of the findings below. The applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, and the granting of the variance is the minimum variance allowing reasonable use of the land. And the applicant has met all of the other variance requirements. Are there any questions?
Do you have any questions? Williamson? Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move we grant it.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is a variance on signage on River Valley Radio.
Yes. And I have to move that down a little bit. He's a little bit taller than me. So this is a variance to the maximum signage allowed at 2705 Parkway Drive. It is a variance to allow 24 square feet over the signage allotment. So the existing conditions, this is located within the East Main Commercial District. It's an existing radio station. It is a C2 highway commercial zoned property surrounded by other C2 zoned properties. Surrounding uses include a variety of commercial uses such as a veterinary clinic, an eye clinic, furniture store, and the Social Security office. So the review comments, the business is proposing to replace 6 existing signs and add 1 additional sign for a total of 7 signs. Each sign is proposed to be 8 foot by 4 foot, making a total requested square footage of 224 square feet despite the 200 square foot maximum. So staff has not found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist. Typically, when we look at signage variances, we're looking at the size of the structure and the size of the lot. For example, we've seen both of the Walmarts come in somewhat recently for signage variances, and so those are bigger buildings and lots than average. So this building and lot are not larger than what is average or normal. Additionally, staff has found that by reducing each sign dimension on all 7 signs by 4 inches, making each sign 3 foot 8 inches by 7 foot 8 inches, the applicant could reach compliance. This would bring each sign down by approximately 4 square feet from 32 square feet per sign to 28.11 square feet per sign, bringing the total signage to 196.77 square feet, therefore bringing the total signage package into compliance. So staff does recommend denial of this application as a result of the findings that the applicant has not demonstrated that special conditions exist. The granting of this variance is not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the zoning code, and the granting of this variance is not allowing reasonable use of the land. And that is my staff report. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Victoria?
Have they checked into what it would, the difference would be? Because I mean, that's a 4x7 is a standard sign, 4x8, and you cutting a standard size down by just 4 inches. Is that even possible? Or do we know?
The applicant has not told me one way or another if they've talked with their sign company regarding that, so I'm not sure. I do believe the applicant is here, and they did want to speak, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions for
Any other
Victoria?
question?
Does anybody have, nobody's here to speak for Richard, right? If you take the podium, and introduce yourself, Richard.
Hi, I'm Richard Nichols. I'm the general manager over at the radio stations, KCJC and CARV, et cetera. The signage that we're looking to replace, 6 of the signs burned up. The coating wasn't good on them. They burned up. We added a radio station, and so our hope was to put the one sign up to show the radio stations. I messed up when I made the report originally because I didn't include the variance information as I should have, and that's totally my fault. I talked with Miss Sarah John Dell, and everyone there was so wonderful to deal with. They were very kind. But I sent a letter afterwards explaining kind of the variance and what we were looking for from it. We have a mandate from the FCC and FEMA to provide emergency information for the community. Probably everyone at some point has heard Johnny talk about the weather. Or also in Russellville, there's the evacuation plan that deals with the plant. Our information to the community is available on these different stations, so it's important that the community knows where they can tune. Sometimes if there's a power outage, radio might be the only way that they can get this information. Our proposal is not to increase the size of any of the 6 that are there, but just to add one. It's a challenge, to be honest, from the street to read the frequency signs with the size that the signs are right now. As far as reducing those signs, anything that we can do to get the frequency to the community so that they know when whether it's a tornado or whether it's some other kind of public emergency, that they can tune in, and we're going to have that information for them. We take it very seriously, and it's also a legal mandate from the FCC as well as FEMA for us to provide that. I didn't get all of that information before the report was. I did call and speak with Miss John Dell, and she said to just explain what I just kind of sort of explained. And so that's the information that I have.
So y'all have added a new radio station since the old signage was put up.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all have street signage?
There's an EAB sign. There's a little one that says EAB. That's kind of the mama company.
Yeah.
These are the signs that show the actual.
letters.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any questions?
Did you say the other one's burned up?
The other, yeah, the coating on them wasn't good, and so they face right in the direct sunlight, and they literally, it burned the.
So if you add this new one, they'll all match,
Well, we're-
age-wise.
Yeah, we put the new one, we're getting the new ones that aren't burned up, and then the new, that one will match exactly, it'll just be the new station.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is a variance at 2614 West Second Lane for a swimming pool in the front yard, submitted by Jennifer Parker.
All right, so this is a variance from the swimming pool setback requirement on 2614 West Second Lane. So the existing conditions are that it is located within the Inglewood neighborhood and this is an existing single-family home. The property is zoned R1 and is surrounded by other R1 zoned properties. Surrounding properties include other single-family homes. And like I said, this application is to allow an existing swimming pool in front of the front building line and to allow a fence taller than 3.5 feet in the front yard. So the applicant hired a pool company, and the pool company did not pull a permit with the city of Russellville. And Russellville Code Enforcement was made aware of the pool and realized permits had not been acquired for the pool. The applicant came in for a pool permit, and it was determined that the pool did not meet the setback requirements for a pool as it was built in the front yard. And the applicant has cited old growth trees, the corner location of their lot, and solar exposure as special conditions. And staff has not found that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, as old growth trees, the corner location of their lot, and solar exposure are not peculiar to this lot and can be applicable to other lands. Also, there is room in their yard behind the front building line to build a swimming pool and be in compliance with the zoning code. The granting of the variance is not a variance allowing reasonable use of land. Reasonable use of the land would be development of the property where a residential structure has already been built. The granting of this variance is not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code. It is not the intent of the code to allow swimming pools in front of the front building line. The intent of this standard is for aesthetic reasons and for life safety. And we'd like to emphasize that the intent of the code is to install a pool in all circumstances behind the front building line of the home. And by approving this variance, by accepting this variance, it would set a precedence that runs contrary to the intent of the code, and it would also set a precedence that it is okay in the city of Russellville to ask for permission rather than asking for forgiveness rather than permission, as in this case. And so the staff recommends denial of this application as a result of the findings below. The applicant has not demonstrated that special conditions exist, and the granting of this variance is not in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code. The granting of this variance is not a variance allowing reasonable use of the land. And staff did discuss this, and if the Board of Adjustment agrees with staff and denies this variance request, staff have reviewed the request and believe that there is a way to allow the applicant to install the pool in a location that technically meets the code and still gives relief from the strict application of the code. The intent of the code, like I said, is to install a pool in all circumstances behind the front building line of the home. However, staff does believe that in certain instances, the pool decking and fence could be located in front of the front building line. Given the fact that the owners originally built over 2 lots, and this is on a somewhat triangular corner lot, staff believes that the pool can be located behind or in line with the front building line of the home, allowing up to 15 feet in front of the front building line for the cement decking and 6-foot privacy fence. And does anybody have any questions?
Do you want to have any questions? There's nobody else signed up to speak on this.
They didn't sign up, but they are here. I think they got here before I put the sign-in sheet out, so
Okay.
the applicant is here.
Do y'all wish to?
I'm Jeffrey Parker, the landowner. We do have a letter from some of our neighbors explaining how they feel about the situation, and it wouldn't impact the quality of their life and the lots. I'm not sure, we did have some images that we could show. Oh, here we,
We don't have a copy of the letter.
sure. This is what we were hoping to achieve with our property line. The pool is in front of the line, but it's a side yard that we were using. Yeah, this is what it should look like from the street once we finish that. We're going to go with a fence system kind of like this. Actually, we wanted one with a cap like that, kind of a Japanese style fence system. Here's the front of, facing our house from our neighbor's perspective. That's the side lot. There's the pool. There's a view of another fence that's set up for our neighbors. Let's see, that's from there. Yeah, so there it is, a street view. Trying to get, we would have to take down a bunch of old growth trees if we were going to. These are some other pools in the neighborhood. These trees, these old growth trees would have to be removed if we wanted to move the pool back to the recommended positioning. The lot is shaped in such a way that where it is now was the best location. There's also, oh, right here. So those trees would be removed, which I think would make the neighborhood look a lot worse. If we put it on the other side, those trees would have to be removed. And that would be behind the face of the house, but it would totally change the look of the neighborhood. And that's a view from our front step, so it is beyond the face, but it's not in our front yard. It's on the side of the lot, the pool. And I think that's about all we have. We do have some neighbors here that, yeah, we could show you the letter. And we do have some neighbors here in support if they wanted to, if you had any questions for them.
Yeah, if you'll hand the letter up here. It wasn't in your packet. Yeah, we got the rest of it, just the letter from the neighbor.
Have you talked to Burton Pools about this situation?
They were very apologetic. They're gonna do whatever they have to make it right. But ultimately, we wanted the pool there, for solar exposure, to reduce the leaf litter, and, it just was the best location.
They built a lot of pools in this town, and they should have known the proper procedure, though, and not led you down the wrong path, but without getting it approved on the front end. It's kind of put us in a bad situation, because we can't have people coming in just digging pools all over town without getting a permit. So,
Well, the question I have is with the staff, y'all said that it wouldn't be that big a deal to move it back to where the pool is at the edge of the house. And then they're saying that they'd have to cut down a lot of trees. I mean, it's understandable cutting down a couple to have it moved back. So, is
Ha-
it,
How many trees?
yeah, I mean, if it's one or,
Two big nut trees, one giant old-growth oak, and another maple tree, which is at the front of our home, and it does completely change that side.
It would change both sides.
well, I mean, well, this changes the whole view of that also, so, I mean, so, that's just real close to the road.
I believe the fence would be, whether it was 15 feet, one way or the other, you're going to see a fence, not a pool. I don't know if it would change it a whole lot from the student perspective.
And Joe Donaldson, 16
Yeah.
I am Joe Donaldson, and I'm one of the neighbors that is protected by this ordinance. But I absolutely see no reason to not allow them to have the pool. It says the front of the house, and that's what's misleading. I understand the 20-foot situation, but their house is at an angle, and they've got about nearly 2 lots there too. And from my house, it looks like I'm just about in front of their house, and it looks like it's at the side of it. What I'm concerned about, and the woman signed that letter that you've got too, she agreed to allow the pool there, and thought it would be a good idea for a good place for their 3-year-old to go outside and play. But it's removing those 4 trees. I have had a neighbor remove some trees next to my house that caused a flooding under my house. Now, removing those 4 trees is going to cause a problem, I really believe, with the neighbor next door. And, you know, I can't say for a fact that removing the trees caused a problem under my house, but I didn't have the problem under my house until those trees were removed. And they started giving us a problem under the house with the water. But I absolutely, I'm the one protected by this ordinance, but I absolutely see no reason for that protection. Now, if they were building an old shed or something like that, I would appreciate it. But they're not. They're building luxury. I mean luxury. They're building an in-the-ground pool, and they're going to put a fence there that's a fantastic fence, it looks like to me, too. So, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your input. Is there anybody else here to speak on?
Our house, Richard Holcomb, my wife is Wilma, and our land adjoins to the Parkers, and we're north from their house. Our house is located north of their house, right behind them. And to me, I'd rather have it as is as to cut down the trees. We live at 220 South Cumberland. Our house is the one with a lot of trees out in front and behind, but and they're good neighbors, and the fencing will look good, and the sight lines will be fine if able to leave it as is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The way that lot is shaped, I see what you're saying. Even though it's in the front, it would be, I mean, it's really the way it's sitting is kind of unique. I mean, I don't see I agree with you on the trees. I mean, that's, you know, it's the intent of the ordinances, and I don't think that intent is being, you know, invaded here at all. I mean, and taking trees out is kind of being counterproductive to what we're trying to prevent here, but that can always cause issues. I'm gonna make a motion, we approve, this variance request, guys. I'll make that motion.
Can I still ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Now, the fence, if I understand correctly, you're saying the fence is gonna block the pool, so from the street, nobody's gonna know where the pool's setting.
But you're gonna have to have a variance for the fence as well. You know, we just, so it's basically two variances that some of this could have been avoided if Burton had started this process properly.
Yeah.
What's the setback requirements for the fence?
We were planning to build no less than 25 feet from the line, so I think that's a following distance. Give me just a second and I'll pull up that exact language.
Because according to this right here, it's got, that pool's gonna be 38 feet, I guess that's what that is. That's from this. Well, it doesn't show where it is from the center line. That's from the property line, I guess. The right of way.
Okay, so the exact language in the code is that provided that no fence, wall, or hedge along the sides or front edge of any required front yard shall be over 3.5 feet in height.
So it doesn't really say a distance for setback. Just,
25 feet would be their setback in that zone.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Is there not a second on this? Do we have, if there's not a second, then that'll die for the lack of a second. Do we have a motion on this request?
How hard would it be to put that fence at the required setback? How much farther would that pool have to be moved back? To get, I mean.
to get 25 feet?
To get 25, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, you're looking at, on that setback is 38 feet, I guess that's what that is.
On the drawing.
The edge of the pool is 38 feet, and right now it shows the fence at 6 feet from the edge of that pool. But we wanted a little bit of wiggle room there because they're building a short retaining wall, and I don't know where that's gonna taper off and end. So that's the reason that we wanted to make sure we could bring it a little bit further toward the road. But we would stay within that 25 feet. We would not go, there would be the 25 feet.
Okay, so the fence would meet the setback.
Yes, it would.
The variance request on the fence is the height.
Is the height.
So with that being said,
The property line. Your property line will be a little bit in from that curve.
I don't think that should apply here simply because of how that lot is set. I mean, it's a unique
I'm saying. There's two variances, two code variances.
Well, I'm,
It's not gonna be to, you know, make the neighborhood look bad. I think taking trees out would be counterproductive. I mean, that's my opinion.
well, I have to make a motion to deny until we get more clarification of exactly what is going to be allowed and what the design is, because we don't really know how far that fence is going to be because of that retaining wall, and there's just a lot of unknowns and for me to,
So are you making a motion to deny it or table it?
I'd say table it, make a motion to table it until we got further information. Because I mean, there's too much unknown for me,
Yeah, but they started before they were supposed to, so.
and, you know, I've owned pools, and I mean, I own a pool, and there's always trees and leaves gonna get in the way, and my neighbor's trees blowing it, and that's just part of owning a pool. And I'm not big in cutting trees down, but in order to make it closer to the setbacks, that's why I just kinda wanna know where we are with the variance before I approve it, in my opinion.
Can we take the fence portion out of it and just leave it as it shows it then, and agree to put the fence on the 6-foot, that
Well, the fence can only be 3 foot. You're asking for a variance on the fence as well, because it's in the front yard.
So really, we're only asking for, I think, 10 or 15 more feet than what they've already said they will allow on their recommendation.
And like I say, I'm sorry y'all are in this spot, but Burton has put you in a precarious situation.
I think we need clarification too on where their address is 2614 West Second Lane. And if you look at the map there, West Second Lane, it's, I mean, it is in the front yard, but I mean, the way that's laid out, I mean, it would actually be closer to the, you know, to the back. I mean, it's actually, the way it's laid out though, that corner lot is making it kind of, it's,
So is that a second?
that's, yeah, I'll second the, if we're gonna table it to get more information.
Got a motion and a second table. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And would y'all get with Victoria on what further information you're,
Yeah, I can be a fan, yes.
That is out of character for Burton to do that.
all right. Moving on to item number 5, is variance for an 18-foot fence for Black Ops Mining on Tyler Road.
Yes, sir. So this is a variance from the fence height requirement at 615 Tyler Road. This is located in the Airport Industrial District. This property is adjacent to the energy substation along East 6th, directly south of a residential subdivision. The existing property is vacant and lower than the adjacent street. The properties to the north is zoned R2, and this and all other surrounding properties are zoned M1. So this application is to allow an 18-foot sound barrier fence or wall to surround a proposed cryptocurrency Bitcoin mining operation. The Planning Commission saw this, I believe it was in March and April of this year. So those of you that are on the Planning Commission, this is probably a little bit familiar. The height of the fence is due to the decibel levels that will be produced from the site. A sound study was conducted by the applicant and reviewed by an acoustical engineer as part of their special use permit. Something we did note in our review comments was that the applicant did submit a new site plan with this variance request. It was different than the one that they submitted as part of their special use permit, and staff did find out with this new submittal that they would have to get this new site plan approved with a new special use permit if they want to stick with the new site plan that they've submitted, or they're welcome to go back to the old one that was submitted as part of their special use permit. So in the review of the applicant's special use permit, a sound study was completed and reviewed by an acoustical engineer. In their original proposal, the applicant requested a 13-foot fence. The city, working in conjunction with our acoustical consultant, reviewed their application and study and found that a 13-foot wall would not be sufficient to keep the levels below 50 dBA, which are levels consistent with the noise exposure limits that do not affect the health and welfare of citizens. The EPA recommends average nighttime levels for the outdoors to be below 50 dBA. The city had taken daytime measurements at the site that range from 57.6 to 60.2 during the day, and at 8 p.m. at night, the readings range from 53.9 to 54.8. Given that the nighttime readings are lower and that the recommendation from the acoustical consultant that the city worked with is that the applicant construct an 18-foot sound barrier wall to offset and protect the residents to the north, staff did defer to those consultant recommendations, and that is what staff has found as the special conditions for this variance. So staff does recommend approval of this variance based on the findings that the applicant has demonstrated that special conditions exist, and the applicant has met all other variance requirements. And that is my staff report. Any questions?
So what happens when they go away? That variance stays in effect with that property?
Yeah.
I didn't realize those things generated that much noise.
Yeah, we didn't either until we started hearing words like acoustical consultant, which I did not realize was a job, but
I believe so. But you think they're going to have to come back for additional permitting through the planning commission?
dependent on, like I said, they submitted one site plan with their special use permit that was approved, and they submitted a new one for this variance that's slightly different. Those changes would constitute them needing to go back for a redo of that special use permit. So if they want to revert back to the original site plan, it's kind of up to them right now, which way they want to move forward. So potentially they may have to go back before the
But
planning
either way,
commission.
we need to act on this variance.
That is their request, yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I move we approve the variance with the stipulation that if the business ceases operation, the fence has to be removed.
Second.
We had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Last item is consideration of a change. I assume this is to do with the Christmas parade.
Yes, there's a conflict every year, so you'll see this item on every year.
Is everybody good with November 28th?
Yep.
All right, then. I think we probably do.
I'll have to make a motion, we change it to what's stated.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody has any further business? We're adjourned. Thank y'all.